Hi guys, it's Sean from B&B Campers. Just going to do your handover video on your Burstner Nexxo. It's a T590 and it's the Sovereign edition, I believe. Let's just have a look. Yeah, T590g Sovereign, so that's what the model and make is. So we start under the bonnet. Fiat Ducato base vehicle. You've got your washer fluid over on the left, brake fluid, engine coolant, power steering fluid, engine coolant and brake fluid just here, all underneath this little cap here if you wanted to get to those. Engine oil gets topped up through here, and your engine oil dipstick is the red topped one down here at the bottom. We've got your Fiat blue colour just there, so that's 691, and that's this kind of blue colour on the cab. We've also got, if you want to jump start the vehicle, you've got a positive terminal under here and a negative terminal just here. The original chassis plate for when the Fiat built the actual vehicle is here, but you have got an upgraded or newer version of that just inside the habitation door, telling you by Burstner that it's weighed at 3.5 tons. So that means that any driving, any driving license, UK driving license, can drive this vehicle. Fuel filter sits over at the back, and your air filter sits inside this box just here at the bottom. Just round to the near side, you've got your bonnet release handle just inside here, and your fuel filler cap just inside here. You can adjust these seats quite a lot. Pulling these handles just here allows you to move the seat down and up wherever you want them to. Same on the other side as well. And you've got these little handles just here which allow you to swivel both seats around as well. The first lock you get to on the near side is this one here with your freshwater tank, your hookup point and your boiler drain. So the fresh tank, this is where you fill up your fresh water from, so the fresh water goes in there. The freshwater drain off is this little bit just here, so when you undo that, the fresh water should come out up underneath the vehicle. It does tell you there that you've got 120 litres in the tank. The hookup point goes in here, and you've got this little bit at the bottom of the cupboard here which allows you to have the hookup cable plugged in here and then have it running out of the locker just there once you've opened this little cap up, which is quite a good idea. And you've also got the hookup, boiler drain off point, so that if you wanted to drain the boiler out of its water, you twist this dial up here at the top, and then the little blue button down here will point outwards. Once that little blue button is out, no water will go into the boiler, it'll all just drain out onto the floor. I'll run you through that and explain why you would do that when we get inside. And the little drain at the back there is basically just a pipe drain, so if you wanted to completely drain out all of the water from this vehicle, pull the little yellow tab upright as well, and that's it. The wastewater drain off is underneath the vehicle just here, and you've got this little bit here, so you have a little handle to go onto that. So that's where you drain out your wastewater from. Pull that little arm down and it'll drain out from here. These two vents just here are to do with your fridge, so if you ever need to get into the gubbins of the fridge, you can just take those two off there and you have good access to that. The garage to the rear, you've got a nice big spare tyre in here. I'm assuming that 5 tyres were ordered, so this is your other one. This is new, it's got the sticker on it still. Not much to show you in the garage, to be honest. It's all just kind of storage. It is kind of double skinned in here, so you do have quite a lot of access under there as well. And you've got access to what I should think is the lights in there. There you go. Well, actually it's easy to get to the lights from the outside. There you go. So reversing camera up there next to the Burstner light. Okay, so your gas locker just here, so you've got space in here for either 2 6 kilo propane, this is a 6 kilo bottle, or you could fit the 13 kilo bottles in here as well if you wanted to. So that's up to you how you want to use it. To turn these bottles on, you go anti-clockwise round to the left to turn it on, clockwise round to the right to turn it off. You've got, what's the date on that? 2021 on here, so you've got till 26 to replace this. But that's it, so that's on at the moment. You've got this down here, which is your external gas point. So if you wanted to use the gas outside, you've got the point just there. And your Thetford toilet cassette. I am just going to release that in the bathroom because I know it's closed over at the moment. So once I've opened that up, that should allow us to take the cassette out. There you go. So once the cassette's out, all you need to know really is that you empty it out from just here. So you take this cap off and empty it out from there. Once you have emptied it out, you need to fill this back up with your blue fluid, about 1 capful of the blue fluid. Give it a swish around and push it back in. When you are actually physically emptying it out from here, you should hold down the little orange button just there. And that is about it really. Make sure that's over there like that. Just make sure there's no other cupboards, which there's not. So, as soon as we get in the vehicle, you'll notice we've got your control panel up here. This is a very standard Burstner control panel, really simple to use as well. So in the middle here, we've got, oh, by the way, my hands aren't actually as dirty as they look on the screen. I've just looked in real life, it's not. Anyway, so you got off and 12 volt on. So quite literally, if I press the 0 button just there, anything that's 12 volt powered, so the lights, ignition for things, and bits and pieces like that will all just go off because all the 12 volt power will be turned off. So at the moment I've got that switched on. Once I've got that switched on, I can choose either one of these two to see the battery level in either the engine or the leisure battery. So if I press this front one here, that's the engine battery level, and we check the top scale, 13.5 volts in the engine battery. So I'm going to pretty much guarantee that there's going to be a solar panel on the roof of this van. 13.5 volts is a charging rate for a battery, so the leisure battery should be up there somewhere as well. Okay, so because all of the lights are on, I've got literally everything on in the van at the moment. The battery is actually being used, which is why it's a little bit lower. So that's the battery voltages just there. The next one over on the right hand side is your fresh and wastewater levels. So the fresh water level, press up on there and look at the bottom scale, so we're pretty much empty. And the wastewater level, same again, empty. And we've got your water pump switch. So turn the water pump switch on. There's probably only be a little bit of water in here, just enough to fill the boiler up. There you go. And once you finish with the pump, turn that switch back off. If the hookup cable was plugged into the van, you'd have this little yellow light on here, just telling you the hookup's plugged in and working. But as we speak, we don't have it plugged in. So that is your control panel, nice and simple. You've got various light switches just down here, which you know when you start to use the vehicle, you start to work out which ones do which. What else have we got? So I'll just quickly run you through the cab as well. So the cab is a nice high spec. So you've got a nice double din Pioneer head unit up here. Now I don't know exactly what this has and doesn't have, but it's a nice aftermarket extra to have. The original ones, they're good, but they're not kind of, they don't have all your sort of Bluetooth and whatever else. So that is that. So you've got the automatic gearbox, air conditioning from this switch just here, and your heater controls either side of that. You've also got your cruise control from this bottom lever just here, lights and indicators from the top left hand stalk, and your washers and wipers from the right. You've got your electric adjusting mirrors from this little dial just here on the driver's door, and your electric windows. So right, what I'm going to do quickly, I'll run you through this in a minute, but I'm just going to, for my own, 1 minute, for my own benefit, because it is very hot in this van, I'm just going to turn the heating off. Okay, so like I was saying outside, I'll just run you through what I was saying. So when you come to wanting to drain the boiler out, the reason you would want to do that, if the temperature was going to get really, really low, you know, if it's really cold outside, you know, for example, roughly around sort of nearly zero, sort of 2-3 degrees, that sort of temperature. If it was going to get that cold outside, what you need to do, if you're not going to be using the vehicle you really need to drain out the boiler and the water in the whole water system basically. If you don't drain the water system out and it freezes, what happens is when water freezes, it expands, and eventually you'll end up getting cracked pipes, cracked bits and pieces in the boiler, and you'll start to get leaks the next time you fill the van up. So it's really important that you drain the water out of the vehicle and the boiler if you're not going to be using the vehicle during the winter months. So those little points that I was showing you outside are really important, just to make sure that you just open those up, drain them out, and then by the time you come to filling it back up again next time, you know, you'll all be completely fine, no leaks, no cracks, etc. So equally, on the same point of that, if you have drained the boiler out of its water, it is also really important to fill it back up again before you try and use it. And the way that you do that is you turn your pump switch on there, assuming you've got some water in the tank, come over to the tap, turn it to the hot, and just pour the water through. If the water's coming through looking like this, that's absolutely fine, and you can go ahead and use the boiler exactly as you want to, all right? Because that's telling me there's no air in the system. If there was loads of air in the system and it wasn't, you know, up to pressure, no water would be coming through the tap, and it would just be sort of coughing and spluttering. Okay? So that's how you can definitely know that the boiler's full. And again, just briefly, but the reason you actually have to make sure that the boiler's full of water is that if you try to light the boiler up to heat the water up and there's nothing inside of it, it's essentially exactly the same thing as filling up a kettle at home, turning it on. Well, no, sorry, completely not what I was trying to say. It's like basically getting a kettle and leaving it completely empty and switching it on at the power. You know, it's just going to overheat it straight away basically, because it's not actually got anything to heat up. Okay, so you need to make sure that the boiler is full of water before you start trying to use it, but you also need to make sure that it's empty of water if you're going to be leaving it through the winter months. Okay, you've got your 3-burner hob up here, and ignition for that is from this little switch just here, nice and easy. Same as the oven/grill down here. I wouldn't have thought that's ever been used, to be honest, because it all looks brand new and it's got its original casing and booklet inside of it, so I'd be pretty confident that's not being used. The light switch is just here. The ignition for these are just by pushing it on the button there, and it just starts to ignite as soon as you press it. Absolutely loads of storage just down here in this little slide out cupboard, which is really nice. Okay, so the fridge is the next one really to show you. That's what I was just looking for. Yeah, so you've got the solar controller up there, like I was saying, and it's actually a duo controller. It looks like it's been reasonably recently fitted as well. Whether or not we've done it, I'm not sure. But that's a duo controller, and the reason I know that is because you've got 2 solar wires just here, the brown and blue one, and then 2 sets of positive and negative wires. So it's telling me that one of the sets will be going off to the engine battery and one of them off to the Leisure. All right, so that's on there. That's really, really good. It's really helpful to have that, meaning that both of your batteries are being topped up by the sunlight rather than just the one. So that is really good. That's something I would always recommend. So it's good that it's there already. So this is your full-size Dometic fridge, and it's a 3-way fridge, meaning that it works on 240-volt electric, gas, and 12-volt electric. It's also an automatic energy selecting fridge, which means you've got the automatic functionality on it as well. So I'll run you through all the different ways that you can use this fridge. So I'm going to turn it off for the minute. So once you've pressed and held on that off button, the fridge is completely off and it won't light up when you open the door. Okay, so we'll try turning it on again, and it should come up with an A illuminated, which it has, and it's automatically chosen gas. So that is actually correct. That's exactly how I would want to use the fridge at the moment, because I don't have the hookup cable plugged in. and the engine isn't running, so I can't use it on the 12 volt. So at the moment, the automatic functionality is chosen gas because it's actually the only way this fridge will work. So that's perfect. If I didn't want to use it on the automatic function, which I personally, it's just personal preference, but I don't tend to like using it on the automatic function because it's just as easy to just press one of these 3 buttons. But if I had the electric hookup plugged in, I would want to be here on electric hookup. Now this will throw up a code in a second when it realizes the electric hookup isn't plugged in. There we go. Or if I had the engine running, I would select this battery one here. Also throwing up a code because, like I said, the engine isn't running. All right, so we'll switch back over to gas for now. It will light back up. There we go. So let me just explain about that. So like I said, the electric hookup, if I had the hookup plugged in, I would be here on the electric hookup function 100%. That's exactly what I would use. If I don't have the hookup plugged in and I'm on a campsite or I'm parked up, I'd be using gas. And if I had already pre-cooled the fridge, that's really important. If I'd already pre-cooled the fridge either via electric or the gas, and I start the engine up to drive off, I would switch over to 12 volt. So the reason that you have to do it like that is because the 12 volt element in the back of the fridge, as I said, that only works when the engine's running, but it only keeps the fridge cold, all right? It doesn't actually get the fridge cold by itself. The 12 volt element isn't powerful enough to heat this whole, to cool this whole fridge down by itself. So you always have to pre-cool it either via the electric hookup or the gas. So my advice is always, if I was going to go away on holiday tomorrow morning in this van, I would probably come out the night before, put the hookup in the vehicle, switch the fridge onto hookup and leave it overnight with all of my stuff inside to cool down. Then by the morning, all you have to do is come out here, switch it over to 12 volt, drive to where you're going, and then once you've parked up and settled down, switch it back over to one of these 2 here. So the reason I would do it like that as well is because having the hookup in the vehicle all night, I know you got the solar panel on the roof, but the hookup is the only thing that really gets the batteries really, really well, well topped up. So having a hookup in for the night before you go away on holiday is always a really good idea. It just allows you to really use up those batteries for everything they're worth. But like I said, if you had no solar panel on the roof, that would be even more true. But for you with this particular vehicle, it's not too bad because you've got a nice big solar on the roof. But there you go. So for the minute, I'm going to turn this fridge off. The next thing I'm going to show you is this Truma iNet Ready system. So the Truma iNet Ready system is essentially the heating and hot water functionality of this whole vehicle. So Truma have been making these sort of systems for probably 30 or 40 years now, so they're really a well-established company for doing it, and most motorhomes, to be fair, use this or a very, very similar version of it. So all of the new vans now coming out with these iNet Ready sort of touchscreen looking systems. So if I just run you through how it works, sometimes it can be a little bit awkward to get your head around to start with, but once you've used it a few times, it is absolutely so easy. So what we're going to do to actually get it to come on is just press this middle button here. Whatever one that you've got here that's flashing at you, which at the moment is this little caravan symbol or motorhome symbol, is the one that you're hovering over. So if I flick through, you see it just goes through and it selects whichever one you want to select. Okay, so if I want the heating on only, I can come to here, click on that one. So now we've got this little one here with a motorhome with a little temperature gauge on it, and it says off. So all I need to do now is turn this up to whatever temperature I wanted to get to and press go. All right, so that is the heating coming on. The next one is your hot water. So again, that is off. You've got eco mode, hot, or boost. So I'm just going to leave that on hot for a minute. So there we go. We've now got the heating and the hot water going. The next one is how the boiler actually works. So whether you wanted to use gas, a mixture of gas and electric, a mixture of gas and a bit more electric on its own, or electric too. So that's just more electric on its own. So if it just says electric and you've just got these 2 little symbols up here, that means it's working on electric only. So that's when the hookup's plugged in. So at the moment, I can't use this system on anything other than gas only, okay, because I haven't got the hookup plugged in. So I'll select that one, and the last one there is the fan speed, and that's that. So the boiler's now going to light up, and whatever you've got flashing over here now, so we've got the heating working, which is this little gas flame symbol, we've got the hot water working, it's working on gas, and the fan is on high. Okay, so if I go back through here now, and I go back through to the motorhome heating section, click on that. So we're set to 24 degrees. Now, let me just have a little look. The thermostat's probably around here by the door somewhere. There you go. So that there, the little black thing there, is the thermostat for your Truma iNet Ready system. So until this area here gets to 24 degrees, that heating will not turn off. All right, and the heating comes through out of these little circular vents that are dotted around. So there'll be one there, there'll be one in the bathroom, wherever it might be, down the back. There'll be one in the front area, and there'll be one in the garage as well, I should think. One down the front there you go. So that's how the heating works. So like I said, it's only, so sometimes you might find, the reason I tell you that is because if you open this door up and you've got the heating on, one, obviously, you know, you're not going to get very efficient heating if the door's wide open, but because the thermostat's just there next to the door, it will take forever to actually get to that temperature. It probably won't ever get to the temperature it thinks, because the cold air will be coming in just next to it. Okay. But yeah, so hopefully that made sense. So now if I just run you through how to turn it all off, I'm hovering over the heating one, click on that, go all the way back till it goes to 5 and then off. Next one, hot water, back to eco and then off. And that's it, that's the whole system off. If you want to actually turn this control panel off, press and hold on this middle button here and it will just say switching off. Tons of storage in here, as well as your mains isolator. So if you wanted to double check the RCDs are in the upright position, that's where you would go for that. You got a light in here as well. So yeah, I think that's about it really for these sort of appliances and things. TV bracket up there with all of your relevant sort of bits and pieces on there. I can see it's clearly been looked after by the previous owner. I mean, it's, you know, there's not a mark on this thing. I mean, there's bits and pieces where, you know, the previous owners obviously had sort of appliances and bits and bobs, you know, the odd tiny hole here and there. But I mean, seriously, this fan is very, very nice. So I think I've pretty much covered everything. I'm just trying to find out if there's anything else I've missed out. So we've got, yeah, more storage up here. The cupboard up here above the fridge has got a plug socket, a mains powered plug socket up there. So if you wanted something like a microwave or something like that, this is probably the area to put that in, bearing in mind it's already there. But yeah, I mean, I think like I said, I don't know if there's much else I can show, to be honest. The beauty of the iNet Ready systems is that it's all in the one place. You know, older vehicles have to have had a separate heating dial and a separate boiler dial, and having it all in that one place is a lot easier. That's all of your paperwork and the Victron bits and pieces in there. The solar panel, absolutely tons of storage in there. And if I just show you a couple of bits in the bathroom, so like some of the Swift vehicles, you've got this whole pull-out shower area, which is really clever. It means that you've got the size of 2 bathrooms in the one, because when you pull this over, you got a full-size shower unit, which there should be a switch for the lights somewhere. Probably outside, is it? Oh, it'll be close. It'll be close. It'll probably be in the van, in the actual bathroom area here somewhere. Anyway, that'll come up. But yeah, so you've got the whole shower sort of unit here, that when you open up this cupboard, it completely closes it back off again. But then when you close it back off again, you wouldn't even know it's there. So it's all just this whole sink section there. The toilet is the only bit I really need to show you, to be honest. So to get the flush fluid to pump around, press on this button just here when your pump switch is on the control panel. That'll get your pump to work and pump the fluid around. And then to drain it out into the cassette, we push to the right. That opens up the flap just here and allows whatever's in the bowl to go into the cassette, and then we close it back over. And that is it. So that's the bathroom. So yeah, a really clever sort of way it's sort of put together in this vehicle. Burstner have always been quite good with their sort of designs and things. Right, so I think I've pretty much covered everything. If there's anything you think I've missed out or anything you'd like me to go over again, just let us know. But we look forward to seeing you soon to collect your van. Thanks very much.